Hello and welcome back to the GorillaBiker. Once again, you just ran a red light. Once again to the Clayton area because I'm just basically getting out for a quick spin because I had stuff that I felt would make a decent conversation piece in the video. And if I have time today, I'm going to make a second one on the way home. I have been asked a little bit about, you know, how I personally plan trips, so more than happy to cover that. And hopefully I did close the chin vents on this helmet, so thanks again to Grant for pointing that out, that was possible. Hopefully we do see a increase in audio clarity, we'll say. I've never actually been unhappy with how the audio sounds on this bike, but certainly on the V-Strom it sounds terrible. I'm gonna kick off a few experiments on the V-Strom. I still have that old screen that came with the bike. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop it. You know, even if it ends up looking hideous at the start, I'm just going to cut it down and see see how it performs, and or you know, ride around with the screen off and get a baseline and then go from there. I have done the screen off before, but not obviously with a camera on. So maybe I'll just do that as well, so everyone can kind of get a sense of that. So yeah, what's the topic for today? It's I am a huge fan of the Isle of Man TT, right? Love it, absolutely love it. And ever since TT Plus became a thing, I have watched it religiously every year. Over here, obviously, when I get home from work, so I literally turned off all of my notifications on social media, which I didn't really think of, but when I muted like literally everything, it also muted my YouTube notifications, so I missed some comments for a few days, so sorry about that. But yeah, what that put into my head is, I don't know, you know, what way you grew up, right? But I grew up, and one of the things that I really wanted to do was race. I mean, Michael Schumacher, you know, Formula 1. Growing up, that was one of my things. Obviously, I know other people will be like, Michael Schumacher's not the GOAT, Ayrton Senna was, whatever. Yeah, okay, cool. It's who you kind of grow up watching. When I was a child, Michael Schumacher, you know, was the king, and Hakkinen, and you know, obviously Coulthard, and quite a few other people, Raikkonen, etc. But I always wanted to race, and then I started watching more and more bike racing into my teens. And again, I always liked bike racing because, you know, the Faheen 50 kind of happened not far from where I grew up, and then obviously, you know, bikes took a, I don't even know what it was, but I always really loved bikes, and I always really loved like super fast cars as well. So do you want to back off a little bit there, bud? I'll get off this bike and smack you. Yeah, so bikes obviously started to take over my mind a little bit. And then of course I also did have you know, friends who obviously knew the TT, watched the TT, late teens into my early 20s, people who I knew who went to the TT, etc. Got a lot more exposure to that. So I always wanted to race, but I knew from a pretty early age also that I grew too big too fast to really ever be competitive. And the thing is, you know, you kind of have to decide what to put your time into really far too early in life, and I chose having a stable career that I could earn money off and live relatively comfortably early on. You know, I used to play a lot of rugby too. Injuries curtailed that massively, and I don't think it's ever the thing I loved most. You know, motorsports were always the thing I loved most. You know, don't get me wrong, love rugby, still follow rugby a lot, but yeah, certainly motorsports engines were front and center in my brain, more so than anything else. So that had me thinking, right? And I know obviously there's groups over here in America that do you know, like endurance races, and I think given my larger size, I think endurance racing, certainly I would probably be better at endurance racing than I am at or that I would be at like short track or whatever else. So maybe one day, if money and whatever else allows, I'll get into endurance racing somehow, maybe. But you know, I went today, and today is Saturday, So it is, what, 4 p.m. I just got back from doing errands and getting myself looked after and all that stuff. So I caught up on the senior. And congratulations to Davey Todd. Great race. That man is really come alive this year. I think the decision to leave Paget was a good one, as hard as it may have been, and I know a lot of people probably weren't overly delighted, because Paget's a huge name, very well respected team. But I mean, I do understand. Obviously, there was some reason he felt he should leave, and I think his decision has paid dividends for him. So congratulations to him and everyone else who's won and podiumed. I mean, to me, just finishing the TT in any class is an absolutely massive accomplishment. But you know, I do always laugh when, you know, like and if you don't follow the TT, I apologize, but like there's one racer for if you don't follow the TT, his name is James Hillier, very talented man, obviously on a motorbike, but he came fourth in one of the, I think it was the first Superbike race, and like he was pissed off when people were congratulating him and saying great result. And I mean, I do completely understand that particular emotion. It's like, yeah, but I didn't podium and I didn't win. You know what I mean? There's none of them there who want to make up the numbers. I think everyone obviously wants to go as fast as they can and win if they can, but however. So yeah, anyway, all of that got me thinking, because I went from watching that to watching today's Gears and Gasoline video, where they were at Gridlife doing obviously a race, GLTC, I think it's Ben Thorne is in, and then Ben Lynn was racing in you know, Time Attack. And it's one thing that I have not seen, and I would love to see. And if I had the wherewithal or the brain or the organizational abilities, none of which I do have, I would love to, you know, start some form of Time Attack series for motorcycles. Because, you know, track days they are not a race. You obviously can time yourself around the track, but they are not a race. And if you treat them as such and ruin someone else's day because you pushed too hard, you are a bit of an asshole. And that is a universally accepted kind of judgment on people. That's not just me saying that. But I do very much feel that way. There was a guy, the last time I was at the track in NC Bike, where he overtook me on the outside coming into turn 1, even though there was like 2 bikes ahead of me that I was just letting take the turn. And he went outside even though I was all the way outside, so he actually went onto the grass a little bit, and I don't think he ever realised, but he clipped my handlebars a little bit. Now thankfully I am pretty experienced on a bike and I was fine. Unfortunately, I didn't get to catch up with him after the session, because I would have had some very, very strong words to have with said person. So yeah, maybe one day I know the bike. I would love to still have a little conversation with that particular person, but we'll see will that ever happen. What's this way? I don't know what's this way. All I know is it's good to get away from the cars. But yeah, I mean, that's something that I would love to see. And if there's anyone who has heard of like a Time Attack series for bikes, please do let me know. Because the thing is, I mean, if you're a larger person like myself, I think a Time Attack series is... Oh, those are stones, and that's probably a cul-de-sac. So we're just gonna go back to the main road. This is not where I meant to come. Anyway, so if you know of anyone, please do let me know, because I would like to try it out for sure. And that's kind of, you know, that was the main thing, is like, what type of racing would you like to do if you were ever to do any racing? Not that I wouldn't do short track. I just think that a short track, as they call it over here, circuit racing, you know what I mean, normal racing, we'll call it normal racing for me. You know, obviously you're doing laps, not a sprint race, not like a timed race like the TT is or whatever else. And obviously road racing for everyone who's not in America is like the Isle of Man TT, and you know, so many other ones, 1450, etc, 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 etc. Lots of them like that's a lot of sand. Let's get on ahead of the traffic there. yeah, that's something that, you know, I would really love to do, is someday do something competitive, preferably on bikes, and obviously preferably on a sports bike that I have quite well set up for me, or not even set up for me, but something that I could build to be set up for me. That would be, I feel, very, very cool, and something that I would genuinely, absolutely love to do. Is just competitively race in some form, because it's I don't know, it's something that's always lived in my head. I've always wanted to race, always. I'm pretty competitive on online racing, but I mean, that's not the same thing. And unfortunately, you know, I've never been able to afford a simulator. Maybe one day I will build one. But that, obviously a simulator would only be for cars. The cool thing about motorcycles, and obviously one of the bad things if you want to do simulator stuff, is you can't really simulate how a bike rides. You have to do it, you know what I mean? You can race all day and night on a motorcycle game with a remote control, but it's not the same thing. And yeah, anyway. So further to that, staying in the vein of going fast on tracks, I have booked another track day on this bike. It's the 22nd of June, and it will be at NC Bike. So if anyone has any interest in you know, coming to watch or whatever else, you know, let me know. I'll try bring some stickers and whatnot. I don't have many stickers left. I am actually considering changing up the logo. There's some really cool, talented artists that I follow on Instagram, and some of whom I have spoken to over the years. They're expensive, but I mean, I don't mind paying for something that is, yeah. And I feel like a lot of people don't respect artists like that enough. You know, I don't mind paying for the work, because I literally can't do it. It's outside of my wheelhouse. I do not have the talent. I don't think I'd ever have the talent, so it is what it is. So yeah, the track day, I have been asked a lot about quick shifter for this bike. I still do want to get a quick shifter for this bike, yes. I will not have one in time for the track day. That's going to be like $500, which I can't afford right now, which is fine, you know, it's fine. I have lots of other upgrades and goodies made to this bike that I want to test out anyway in the first place. And we'll see what handles. I know I did find a nice road recently, thanks to a gentleman called Kenny. So I actually got to push the bike on a little bit faster than I have around here, and take corners a little bit more than I have around here. And the bike just is so stable at speed around turns, which I don't think I've ever had something that is as comfortable for me to be on, to kind of get the right body position on, with the stability that this now has. One thing I will be doing is, and I'll be doing a video on it in the coming days or weeks or whatever, before the track day, is I'll be fitting Dunlop Q5S's. That's what I've bought to test. Up until now I've had the Sportmax GPRs. They did really well on the last track day, but they're just a little bit cooked. The rear tire is obviously I've been using on the road, so the rear tire is it's not flat spot around, and it is still quite round. It's still plenty of grip there, but you know, you spend so much to organize for a track day, you spend so much on your bike, you spend so much time to get there and do it. I always think it's crazy that people chance like really bad tires. Not that these ones are bad, but you know, I have it in my ability. I had it in my ability to buy 2 new tires, and I have it in my ability to fit them thanks to the Rabaconda that I have. So I was just like, you know, it's your only thing between you and the road on a track and on the road. So I'll be throwing those on, and obviously I'll let everyone know how they work. Other than that, I'm very happy with my forks. I think the forks on this bike now feel great. The shock, I don't know, it's obviously a lot better than it was stock, but even like over these bumps, I feel like my rear rebound is, I don't know, is it like a little bit too slow in comparison to the front? But it doesn't feel like 100% kind of, you know, matched up to the front of the bike over bumps and whatnot, and at speed. I can definitely lean on it a lot more, but yeah, I don't know, it's something that I definitely need to look at, because it is the stock shock, and the spring has made it a lot better, but at the end of the day it is still a stock shock that's, you know, not exactly highly regarded. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, my biggest problem was when I was looking at shocks, you know, the K-Tech and whatnot, they didn't really have a spring option for my weight, which, you know, I may have went for something like that if they did, but they didn't, so it is what it is. And yeah, I mean, to finish this one, I know it's a pretty short one. I'm just literally just out for a ride on what is my favorite bike. I just love riding this thing, even if it's like mostly straight lines, which is, I mean, that's what we have around here, unfortunately. I just love it. But yeah, things that I will be doing is I'm going to be doing throttle cable adjustments and lubes, and I'll be doing my clutch cable adjustment and lubes. I actually need a new clutch cable and possibly a perch, because someone kind of tore this one up a little bit, whoever owned it last, or whoever had it before them. You actually have to get a grabbers to turn it, which is not the best, so we'll be doing something with that. And yeah, I don't know, I might take more preload out of the shock. We'll see, does that help at all? It might not. It might help a lot, it might help not at all. What the hell is this? Right lane closed. So is it one way? It seems dangerous if it's not one way. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, really looking forward to that track day. And just to get this across, right, because I whenever I mention going fast in the past, I will often get comments on my weight, or on my shape and size, or whatever else. Oddly enough, no one ever actually comments on my ability, but just to get ahead of it, I know I'm not the ideal weight to ride bikes fast. I know I'm not the ideal body shape or size to ride bikes fast, and I have never once claimed to be particularly talented at riding a bike. However, I am very passionate about going fast around tracks. I love it, and it's something I would like to do, hence why I made this video talking about it, because I think the thing that would suit me as a human with the injuries I have and whatnot, the best would be some form of, you know, time attacks or time trials on a bike, similar to what the Gears and Gasoline guys do with gridlife in their cars, but on a bike. So I don't know, is that something that could ever happen? Would even gridlife hold them? You know, would it be exorbitantly expensive, something that I couldn't afford anyway? Even if they did start it, would I even be able to do it? Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, I'm just asking the question and talking about it. So please, if you feel the need to comment on any of my physical attributes, you know, maybe go have a look at yourself in the mirror and talk about that first, and then, you know, move on with your life, because I don't care about your comments, to be honest, and you're not going to get any form of response that's going to make you happy out of me, because I've been doing this whole YouTube thing quite a while, and you get very good at dealing with people who most people would reasonably recognize as assholes. So don't be an asshole, is what I'm saying. But yeah, that's it. That's all I really wanted to talk about is number one, the Isle of Man TT and how amazing it is. Number two, how Rever really does struggle to make these roads I pick twisty, because I suppose there just are no twisty roads around here. And yeah, that's it. Let me know your opinions on anything I've said. All opinions are welcome. If you know about any time attacks, please do let me know. If you want to meet me at the track, please do let me know. I'll be there with a couple of friends. So you will be unable to steal my kidneys if that's something that you're going for. I will have protection from friends and witnesses if you do decide to try to do that. They're good, healthy kidneys. I'm not saying they're not worth stealing, but you know, I don't want you to steal them. It might make riding bikes that little bit harder. So yeah, that's it. If you watch, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this little ramble was interesting for some. Like I said, leave any comments down in the comment section and I will get back to you. My notifications are all turned back on now, obviously. The TT is over, sadly, for another year. And yeah, as always, a very special thank you to all of my patrons. I really do appreciate your support. So I only realized today how long some of the people who support the channel have been around supporting the channel. And, you know, people who have stuck with me through moving country, not having a bike to ride for several months or whatever else. And, you know, that sort of stuff would soften the hardest heart. And I have been told by some I have a black hole for a heart. But, yeah, that even softens my black pit of doom, to realize how long some people have stuck around. So I really do appreciate you all very much. And yeah, until next time, thanks again for watching. Adios. Outro crew. If you could do one type of like motorsport, you don't have to say motorcycle motorsport, but if you could pick one type of motorsport that you personally would like to get involved in and do, what would it be? Let me know. Bye, outro crew. Thank you, Jesus. Why would you put a sticker on your paint? Like, window is fine, but not in your paint. Come on, people. Don't put stickers on your paint. It's really silly goose behavior.